evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Welcome into our fantastic remote viewing show tonight, where we have a very interesting cryptid to get into tonight. And also, we have a lot of history behind circuses and things like that to talk about tonight, namely train wrecks, actually, that have to deal with sideshows and stuff. But we have so much good information for you guys tonight, and I'm super excited to have all of you guys here tonight. I do have my good buddy, Mr. Robbie Rains, is here with us tonight. Surprise, surprise, y'all, in the studio tonight, and so we have. Yeah, like I said, we have a lot to discuss tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed all the shows this week. So far, we've had some really incredible shows, and we talked about Skinwalker Ranch, and I mean, you name. Y'all check all the shows out, okay? And oh man, somehow I've managed. I was thinking I put my foot in my mouth this week because I got into some of my I started having these epiphanies during the shows live, okay, where I'm like, wow, I think I live in a simulation. I think I'm not sure what's going on. Is the government in on this? I'm becoming like the ultimate conspiracy theorist when it comes to cryptids, and maybe even us living in the Truman Show Cryptid Edition. Okay, so, but tonight we are going to be discussing the Beaman Monster out of Missouri. If you guys will remember, was this past Saturday night, or was it on Saturday? We had Eric Testerman here, and he's out of Missouri. We have this was actually mentioned during that show, and I have remote viewing data for this cryptid. And it is actually pretty fantastic. And we have a lot of dots to connect tonight. And of course, Robbie is here. Robbie and DA had a fantastic show last night, by the way. If you guys haven't already, please go and subscribe to Nightmare Hunters podcast over on YouTube. And check out their latest show too on Cowman. I'm going to ask Robbie about that tonight. Y'all, I don't know where we come up with all these cryptids, y'all. It's wild, isn't it? But tonight, this one is probably going to blow your socks off. It's actually really interesting, and it's right out of Missouri, Kansas City area to be exact. All right. Well, if you guys want to check out the remote viewing data for this target tonight, please go over to my Patreon. It's the Cryptid Huntress on Patreon. I just updated that tonight, so all of the data is over there. If you guys are interested in seeing any of that, shout out to all my Patreon members. Y'all really keep me going over here. And I appreciate your support so much. Also, I have a website. It's thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find all my shows over there, my calendar of events. I do have a big event coming up in October. If anybody's interested in joining us over there, let's see, Cornwallis, 1828. We have some big names over there. We got Tim Kumbo Baker. We got Mark Green, Greg House, Mark Newbill, Flat Rock Greg, and myself, Greg Ogles. And I don't know, maybe I can convince Robbie to come and show up at that thing. I don't know. We'll see. But it's going to be a fun time. There's going to be a lot of great people down there at that. It's down in kind of South Alabama, south to Midley. That's what my dad would say. Kind of like middle South Alabama. And we're going to actually have an expedition that weekend as well. If anyone's interested in joining that expedition, you sign up with Squatch Fishing Outfitters with Scott and Sheila Granger, and you guys can find all that information on my website, okay, or over on their website and their TikTok. All right, well, let's get into our show today, y'all, because this is gonna be a good one. Okay, the Beaman Monster is a legendary cryptid that has been part of the folklore of Sedalia, Missouri for generations. According to legends, it is the offspring of a 12-foot tall gorilla. I don't know. Do y'all believe that? What do y'all think about this 12-foot tall gorilla that escaped from a circus train and crashed near Beaman, Missouri in the early 1900s? Encounters with this creature have been reported up to this decade. The creature is said to be a large, hairy, bipedal animal that resembles a wolf or a coyote, potentially a kind of hybrid between a Bigfoot and a wolf. Some have seen it. The people who have seen it have claimed that it has a wolfish face that is actually terrifyingly human. This terrifying creature has been sighted unaliving livestock and leaving very large tracks with a stride that is too far apart for the normal human to walk. A posse, my favorite, posse gathered to hunt this thing in the late 1950s by people carrying all sorts of shotguns to catch the Beaman Monster. Gather up the posse, y'all. And so this has been a remote viewing target, and I'm going to go over the data tonight in just a little bit. I'm more excited about all the history behind this and the discussion that Robbie and I are about to have on this. I do have Robbie Rains here. He is an author, a researcher, a field researcher, actually. He's been out in the field with me a couple times. And he has all his books can be found on Amazon under Robbie Jed Rains. He's also on Nightmare Hunter podcast on YouTube with D.A. Roberts and all the fellas over there. And he's always a delight to have on my show. Please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Robbie Jed Rains. What's up, Robbie?
Jessica, how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for joining me 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
my goodness.
Thanks for having me 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. I know. Go Clemson.
I had to wear the reminder so she wouldn't say Auburn this time.
I had to. I'm sorry. I had to say Clemson at least once. I know. I don't know what came over me. I had a senior moment last week. And I was like, and I said Auburn, I don't know how many times. You guys are like mortal enemies, aren't you? It's like a big rivalry.
South Carolina's our mortal enemy.
The Gamecocks, see?
Yeah, Georgia and Auburn have got a big rivalry.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I'm from Georgia. Well, actually, I'm more of an Alabama fan. Don't tell nobody. But
Alabama and Auburn don't have too much of a. They got a pretty much of a love-hate relationship too. That's the Iron Bowl.
Right. Exactly. Well, I'm a Georgia peach, and people have come at me for like not having Georgia Bulldogs number one. You know, I've always I don't know why I've always been an Alabama fan. But anyways, we're not here to discuss football and sports and stuff. We're here to talk about weird stuff. Okay. Weird stuff. Speaking of weird stuff, you and DA had the most interesting cryptid y'all were talking about last night on your show. Yeah. Some kind of cow man. What is the cow man?
Well, I believe it's just a Bigfoot, because you got to think this story started or was first talked about in the 1960s. And, you know, the term Bigfoot was only like 2 or 3 years old when this came up. So it's no different than hairy man or wild man or tall man or any of the other descriptors. The boy was like 4 years old, I believe, when he saw it. You know, that he lived in an area of Washington where there was a lot of cattle ranches around. So he just said it was big and hairy like the cows, and it smelled like the cows. Like I said, you know, it's no different than the little boy in North Carolina saying a bear fed him and gave him berries and kept him, or fed him berries and kept him warm. I mean, that's what his brain reverted to. That's what he knew. So pretty much from what we gathered from the story last night, I believe it was a Bigfoot, and he was just calling it the cow man, and that's just what stuck. You know, skunk ape, cow man, Honey Island swamp monster, you know, Falk monster, Momo.
Wild man.
Wild man. I think it's just a colloquialism.
It is. I think so too. But of course, as soon as I saw the title, I was thinking like a cow humanoid.
Well, that's what I thought when you first sent the show notes, and I was like, then I got to read them. I was like, oh, okay, this is I get what this is now. But I actually watched the movie today. I was actually watching it when you text me, and you know, there's a lot of movies that are based on a lot of the reports and things that we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. It's a cheap B movie, but they changed some things, but it stuck almost beat for beat with the story. And it was, for what it was actually a really decent movie. So
wow.
it's on Tubi. If you've got Tubi, anybody in chat want to go check it out, it's called Something in the Woods. And it's, you know, there's a few names that are the same in the movie that were in the story. There's some names that they changed, which the names in the story were pseudonyms anyway. I mean, it clearly states that because they didn't want their names out there, which also lends credence to the story, because they were looking for 15 minutes of fame. You know, why'd they want their names changed? So, hey, Tyler.
That's true. That's true too, man. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check that movie out. And what did they refer to in the movie? Was it more like a Bigfoot they thought, or did they ever say?
Yeah, it was completely Bigfoot in the movie. They
Oh,
never
Bigfoot.
even mentioned the term cowman. You could it says at the start of the movie based on true story or based on actual events. I think is how it said. Um, but they never used the term cowman in the movie. Uh, they actually used the term Bigfoot, but they set the movie just a little bit forward. I think the movie they said it was in, and the main guy who was, or not the main guy, but the guy I assume that was SD Baker, who is the one that first put the story out there. And you kind of watch the story. But if anybody in the chat that didn't watch, I'll give you a brief synopsis of the story.
Yes.
The story actually happened to a family, and the dad's name was John, and then the little boy, I think they called it. They said his name was Caleb, and that's the name that was in the movie. Or no, I'm sorry, that's the older boy that they said. The younger boy was Jacob, and then Caleb. But in the story, it was John Jr. because he was the oldest son, was named after the dad, according to the story anyway. But Baker was a kid and was hanging around his dad's logging company or whatever, and he would hear John telling these stories, but dad wouldn't let him hear the rest of the story because he didn't want him scared of the woods and didn't want him hearing this as a kid. So later on, he finally got his dad to tell him the story when he was an adult, because dad was actually involved in the story. So the story goes that the little boy, the youngest kid, he hears something, looks up, sees this giant reddish brown creature hung in a top strand of a barbed wire fence. Then calls his mom. Mom comes out and he says, "Cowman's up there." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And describes the smell of wet dog and rotten meat. We've heard that before.
Interesting.
And mom looks up and all she sees is top strand of the fence shaking, but she smells the smell. So, okay, you've already got two independent encounters that are not dependent on one another. So the older boy's coming home from a friend's house, and as he's coming home, walking down this trail, in the movie he's riding a bike. In the story it says he's walking. He gets paced by something. Doesn't ever see what it is, but something, he says, it's big, and it sounds like a big man because he hears a lot of big sticks breaking on the ground and then in the tree line.
Yeah.
And it stops as soon as he gets to their driveway. Dad comes home. They tell dad. He don't really buy into it, but mom says, "Well, I saw the top strand of the wire shaking where little boy said it was, and we both smelled this weird smell." So dad takes the oldest boy, goes out, and they actually find a clump of hair around that top strand of barbed wire, and it was so tangled up that dad had to take his buck knife and cut it off, and says that there was some biological tissue still attached to the hair. Now here's the caveat to all this.
Okay.
And obviously he was not in cryptid zoology detection mode. He was in protect my family mode. So none of this stuff was preserved. There was no pictures ever taken of any tracks that were found or any of that kind of stuff like that. But he wasn't in that. And of course, this is in the 60s, and what we do now was not a big thing back then. So, but he takes the hair, takes it back to the house. There's a few more encounters. There's an encounter. I don't remember if it was that night or later. Oh, let me back up. Him and the older son go on into the woods after they find the hair, and dad actually sees something. He sees it walking on all fours, but then he sees it stand up, and he describes that he thought it was a bear. And obviously when he saw the hair at first thing went to his mind, he said, "Oh, that's off a horse's tail or a horse's mane." So he wasn't even trying to speculate that this was something, spectacular, or he was just looking for actual known creatures that could explain this stuff. So they get in the woods. He sees something. He automatically thinks it's a black bear until it stands up and he sees what he describes as a human-like arm, or a big hairy arm reach out with a human-like hand and grabs a hold of what he described as like a 4-foot alder tree, I'm sorry, and grabs a hold of the tree and starts shaking it and ends up snapping the tree about 5.5 feet off the ground, I think is what it said. So he tells the older boy, he said he thought it might be a homeless guy, a vagrant, something like that, because he still hadn't got a good look at it at this point, other than the hand. He tells the older boy take off, running back to the house. Well, the older boy takes off. He gets across the barbed wire fence and just kind of stops in the field. Dad didn't know this. He's got a 357 Magnum with him. He tries to call the thing out, and I think that's when it snapped the tree. So he fires a shot. Well, it takes off running. So at first he thinks it's just running back in the woods, and he turns around, looks, and notices that it's running parallel to where he just sent his son. So he takes off running, gets back, sees his son standing there, tells him, get to the house. Boy takes off, turns around, takes off running. And he's trying to catch up to him. This thing breaks out of the wood line, comes up, runs up behind the kid, hits the kid, and knocks him about 10 feet, I think it said. Kid never saw what hit him. He just knows he went flying. So but it kind of veered off after it knocked him down. Well, he turns around and pretty much dumps the cylinder, the other 5 shots from the 357 Magnum. Doesn't say whether he hit it or not. He just dumped the rest of the rounds towards it.
Oh God, he did a dump. He did a mag dump.
He did a mag dump without the mag. He did a cylinder dump.
He did a cylinder dump revolver.
And it gets to his son. Son's okay. They get up, go off back to the house. Dad's kind of shaking. The son's shaking. Mom, they all talk about it. Well, and I think this was later that night. They start hearing this, as they described it, howls.
Okay.
And then later on, the little boy sees something outside his window, and it supposedly like drug its hand across the window. So he tells mom and dad next morning. They go out and he sees the marks on the window. So kind of shorten this out so it don't take up the whole show with this.
No, I'm enjoying this.
His brother comes out. They find an 18-inch track.
Okay.
Then the Baker's dad, who's telling Baker the story, he comes out after they had left the house, after things kind of got even worse. They come back the next day and the house is totally ransacked.
No way.
Now, and think this is in the 60s. They have one of those big TVs. TV is picked up and thrown across the room.
Like a heavy one. Those things are
like
not
too many people going to, pick one of those things up and toss it across the room. Right. Refrigerator's tossed. The house is just totally a wreck. So this guy's dad actually goes out and sees that too. So at this point they're like, okay, we're done. We're moving. We're leaving. We're getting out of here. This guy's brother had come out and he had seen all this stuff too. So they ended up leaving and moving in with his brother, but they had called an insurance adjuster, supposedly. And adjuster come out and he blamed the dad. He said, you did this. You got drunk and got mad at your wife and you tossed your house. Now you're trying to get it paid for, whatever. So it's a very compelling story. There's a lot of stuff that if you would just have gotten one of those accounts, would be interesting enough to go investigate. But you start putting it all together, it starts really tying in nicely. But there again, like we said, the caveat, none of the stuff, there's no pictures, there's no police. They never called the police. There's no record of whether or not they actually did file a claim. That's what the story says, but the adjuster says, nah, you did this. Don't know where the hair is, the hair sample. There was never a photograph of the track or, anything to show the scale. There's no cast made or any of that kind of stuff. So, but like I said, he wasn't in, I need to take this evidence mode. He was in, I need to protect my family mode.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's actually a really interesting story. And like I said, if you listen to our show and hear the whole story and then watch the movie, if you've never watched it, you're going to be like, wow, they pretty much tracked it almost beat for beat with some
Oh yeah.
changes, but it was they moved it. Excuse me, it happened in Washington, but they moved it to Texas and said it was taking place in Texas. But I mean, other than changing a few names, changing the location, pretty spot on.
Wow. Well, that's incredible. Listen, I love hearing stories like this. And so in my mind, I was seeing a humanoid cow. So thank goodness it's not a humanoid cow. It's
Yeah,
a Bigfoot.
like I said, they the movie never even used the term cowman. Um, and and I think it's just a little boy defaulting to what he knew.
Oh yeah. Well, it
He
was
was
amongst the cows, right? And so
well, it
and
was
cows are
in a
known to like,
pasture.
yeah, oh well, cows are known, or not cows, Bigfoot are known, and Dogman too. They're known to like go hang
Hmm.
out in herds of animals and stuff like wolf packs, coyotes, and cows. And, you know, that investigation I just did about 2 weeks ago now, 2 weeks to today, 2 weeks ago today, that it was on a farm, and that the cows are being affected, the horses are being affected, the chickens were definitely being affected. They were getting taken and stuff. You know what? I got
Yeah.
an update on that. I'll go ahead and tell the audience. I do have an update on that. The homeowner called me this week and said that her neighbor, her next door neighbor, and this is large property, okay, so it's not like next door, like super close. But her neighbor, her chickens have been going missing, and one night recently, like 5 of her chickens were gone and taken out of the chicken coop. Out of 8, she said 5 out of 8 were taken, and there was like piles of feathers in there. That was all that was left, and so she didn't know that there had been some investigators over at the neighbor's house, i.e., myself and Kelly, my one of my homegirls,
Yep.
investigated with me, and but she said that even like part of the coop had been smashed in down at the bottom. So like something huge and heavy, like they said, it's like a real heavy piece of metal, like a piece of tin, but it's like thick. She said that it was actually dented in down at the bottom, and so something big was getting her chickens out of there. She said,
Well,
now,
yeah, that's an interesting fact
mhm,
that they added into the movie. They added a neighbor into the movie, and the neighbor was
yeah,
knew about it, and he had lost some chickens, and they added uh the guy had pigs, the main character, and it got 2 of his pigs, and Ken was talking about it. There, it turned out that there was at the movie the big twist was there were 2 of them. Um,
oh,
it never states that in the story because I mean I could have been, and a lot of things would have made sense if there was more than one of them, but it never expressly says that the family saw more than one at a time anyway. So, but
dang,
yeah,
that's what I found out pretty often, especially like doing these like remote viewing targets to some of these cryptids. And, you know, I remember it. I'm not going to say it started with the Jersey Devil, but when I was doing this, I was given that as a remote viewing target. I was seeing all these different types of things, like creatures and stuff. And I think that there's never just one. Okay, like you hear about even with Patty. There's not just one Patty. There's one Patty, but there were a bunch of Bigfoots out there, most likely.
oh yeah,
Okay, and it was all the you know, take the Michigan Dogmen for instance, like the beasts of Bray Road. There's a bunch of beasts on Bray Road, a bunch,
yeah.
and
I don't think there's. I think that you see one, that's the one you see. You don't see any others. I mean,
no, that's right. Were cows. I've been seeing that in the chat. We've been talking about were cows, were deers last night. Ed and I were talking about were deers yesterday, I think. Okay, who's in the chat right here? Where everything could be a were. Okay, a were. That sounds weird. Werewolves, cats. You know, actually, what we're talking about tonight, Robbie, is in the same vicinity of these cats in Missouri. By the way,
so it's close to Drury Mitzi.
it is. I guess so. It's actually near Kansas City. Okay, which is actually kind of north of there, I believe.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean that, and I'm not trying to make like I'm some big expert on Missouri. I've been there quite
I've
a bit.
never been there.
Been there quite
Okay.
a bit, hanging out with Da and Doc, and Drury Mitzi is its own Table Rock Lake, but Table Rock or No, that might be on Lake of the Ozarks. Anyway, Drury Mitzi is where there supposedly is some type of upright feline type creature. And that's where Missouri Game and Fish supposedly engaged and fired shots on these things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah. Well, I think that's a little bit because we talked about the Mark Twain National Forest, I believe, and that's like a little bit further south than where we're going to be talking about today, but it's still in the same state. Okay,
oh, yeah.
and
I will tell you from experience, Missouri is a very strange state. I have never gone to Missouri and not had some kind of crazy encounter.
Really, man,
never,
the Ozarks. They
yeah.
never disappoint. You know, I had Eric here on the show on Saturday, and he was giving us an update on the activity at his house. He believes he has like Ozark howlers, multiples, and also werecats and dogmen on it, and Bigfoot too. But I mean, we already knew about the Bigfoot, but we got into a good discussion on that Saturday night. Because they're all of those things. I mean, I don't know what's up with the Ozarks. He's talking about how they've got like the oldest mountain range in the world. Well, I know the Appalachians are the oldest mountain range in the world, but he said that there actually are they've kind of separated from the Appalachians, so they're originally part of that mountain range. He said.
Yeah, I think if the Appalachians, like you said, are the oldest, I think the Ozarks are probably right behind.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
They're pretty old, but you know the Appalachians aren't any kind of joke either. There's some weird stuff up here too.
They ain't no joke. Yeah,
you know
better be prepared.
That's our area.
Yeah, they ain't no joke. That's for sure. And you know, I was actually thinking today, like I always have deep thoughts when I'm sitting here. You know, my son's in school again. Ben went back to school, so I have some quiet time occasionally now. And I was sitting here, you know, working on the show and stuff for tonight. And I was thinking, I was like, why do I do what I do? I was like, oh, I don't know. Am I not scared to die? I know that sounds terrible, but I'm like, I really started thinking about that because like it doesn't even cross my mind.
My mom asked me that every time. Every time I'm up there talking to my dad about where I'm going and what I'm going to be doing, she was like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I mean, I get paid to get shot at every day at work anyway. I mean,
yeah, that's right. You are a police officer. I forgot to mention that in your intro. You are a law enforcement official, and amongst many other things, of course, but an author, a researcher. And I feel safe with you out in the woods. I do. But I was thinking, like, do I just have no self? Like, I have all the awareness out there. I really do. But it's like, it's almost like I just don't. If you don't let that get into your head, it's all in your mind, too, by the way. It really is. If you let it creep into your mind that, like, something's going to eat you out there, something probably will eat you out there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm not going to be a tasty snack. I don't know. Maybe I would be, but I don't look at it like that. Okay. I like this comment, Steamboat, Texas. If you wear leather, you wear cows. That is a good one.
That's funny.
One. Yes. We all wear cows occasionally. Some of us have cows in our vehicles. Wear cows. Good Lord. Okay. Well, anyways, well, we have this really interesting cryptid to talk about tonight. You know, I wanted to show a map in case people, because we have a very international audience. I just discovered that I actually have a lot of people from all over every single continent, all over the world, except for Antarctica. That's not listed. But all the other ones, I bet they watch, but they're just hidden. It doesn't say Antarctica. Yeah, I'm sure all the Antarcticans watch my show. I'm sure. But anyways, we have a very international audience. So if you guys are not familiar with Missouri or Missouri, some people call it, this is where, you know, we're kind of focused around Kansas City. Now it actually sits in between Kansas and Missouri, right in the middle of the United States. And I actually have some more maps. I wanted to show kind of the landscape out there, and maybe it'd give us a good clue as to why there's so much activity out there. And they do have the Missouri River that runs right through Kansas City, by the way. And I must not have uploaded the topographical map that I had. But take my word for it. I think we can actually see on this map there is that line that goes through Kansas City and then down kind of like south through the state to the east. I think that's the Missouri River right there. Okay. A big one. It's a big one.
Yep.
And so this is where we were talking about last Saturday night. We were talking about Springfield. Okay. That's the area that we were kind of discussing. And to the right of that is where Mark Twain National Forest is. Okay. And that's where all the werecat activity is. And Eric lives in that general vicinity somewhere. Okay. And so we're pretty far north from there tonight with the Beaman Monster. All right, Beaman Monster. But however, let's see. We do have some newspaper articles on this. Tales of Sedalia's, and I say Sedalia because it looks like Vidalia or Vidalia. In Georgia, we have a town called Vidalia, and it's where all the Vidalia onions come from. In case you're wondering, the sweet, juicy, delicious onions. They're my favorite. Yes, we have that. It's down near where I used to go to college in South Georgia. So Sedalia. Beaman Monster, the tales of the Sedalia Beaman Monster still linger. And so this thing has been around since at least the 1900s, Robbie, at least. And some people say, of course, with any cryptid, there's going to be controversy. There's going to be people that say that never existed. There's no evidence of it, but actually there has been evidence. Could I find pictures of footprints online and track lines? Absolutely not. I couldn't. Doesn't say it does. That doesn't mean there aren't. It's not real though. Okay. But
what does Nance
do? What
I say? The absence of proof is not the proof of absence.
That's very true. I like that. Well,
Nance
actually,
always says absence of proof is not proof of absence.
You know what? I was just thinking I should have gone over to we can still do it. I need to find out what the county is. And if I can figure out what county this is in, I can go to bfro.net. We can pull up all the Bigfoot sightings reports out of that county. So I will do that in just a few minutes. How about that? And we'll get a good idea of what kind of reports we're getting out of this area throughout the years, as long as the BFRO has been reporting out of there. Okay, so listen. Kansas City has its share. This whole area has its share of really strange cryptids, including like Mothman type creatures, Bigfoot, Dogman sightings, the werecats, and things that are flying, almost like pterodactyls and stuff. I mean, I actually have seen some reports of those out of this area. So let's see. Let me get my right notes here. And we're going to dive into this. And then we're going to get into the remote viewing data of this. Because the question is this thing real? Is it just a made up story to keep kids scared to go in the woods, Robbie? Does it have ties to circuses and trains that are wrecking? Oh, man. First of all, before we get into this conversation, Robbie, how many cryptids are the result of trains that flipped over back in the 1900s?
All of them. That's what it seems like.
It's so weird. Do you think? I mean, it's almost like a concerted effort to it's just weird. Is it true?
Well,
I mean, are people just making this up?
I don't know how the concept of the circus ever got off the ground because there were so many circus trains that wrecked in that time, and and every one of them that wrecked seemed like a wild man of Borneo escaped. I don't know. Borneo must have been covered up with them because.
I mean, how did like the bearded lady not ever escape? And like, there's a bunch of maybe that's how Bigfoots are. Maybe they've procreated with Bigfoots too. I don't know. That's just weird.
Wild man of Borneo and the bearded lady. I guess I don't know.
Bearded ladies. I don't know. Well, that'd be kind of weird. I don't know.
Maybe that's why the wild men of Borneo escaped because they didn't want to have to deal with the bearded ladies anymore.
Lord. I tell you what. All right. Well, listen, I have some really interesting information to pull up tonight on the circuses that were around at this time. Because listen, I wanted to get to the bottom of these circus trains wrecking. Okay. And so I actually found some websites where you can track all of the map. It maps out all the circuses from all the way back to like the early 1800s. And you just pick like your year, and I got the time frame. It's like 1900 to like 1906 or something. I can't remember, but we're going to take a dive into this a little bit tonight. I think it's fascinating because were all these trains? I mean, can we find evidence that these trains really wrecked? That's my question. I don't know. What is that one in Tennessee? It's like Werewolf Springs, I think.
Yeah,
That one
in Dixon County.
Dixon County, that's right. You know, I think that it will do us some justice to like actually dig into newspaper article. Now there were newspaper articles for that one. I remember covering that. And I do believe that really happened, but this one right here, I don't know. So that's why I have several tabs open on my computer right now to pull these things up to show the audience. Okay, well, let's see. So this actually, and here's another really strange thing about this. It actually revolves around a circus train that wrecked and a 12-foot tall gorilla that escaped. Now, we know a little something about gorillas, don't we, Robbie? I mean, I know I used to go visit Willie B in the Atlanta Zoo when I was a kid, and I think they average like 6 feet maybe at the tallest. I mean, they're not that big.
Yeah.
12 feet would be really big for a gorilla.
Yeah, probably the bigger ones. Yeah, most silverbacks that I've heard, it's usually average of 5 to 5.5 feet. I guess 6 probably on the bigger side of the scale, but yeah, 12's kind of for a mountain gorilla. That's kind of pushing it, even for a lowlands gorilla, because I think they're a little bit bigger sometimes than the highland gorillas. Excuse me, the mountain gorillas.
I just saw Bruce's comment. Jeez, Bruce, thanks. That's funny. He said he used to have to buy tickets to the fair to see the bearded woman. Now just go to Walmart. Oh, man. I just saw your comment and I pulled it up without even reading it, Bruce. That is funny. That's funny. Okay. You know, I'm glad I shaved today, by the way. I'm just kidding. Okay. So this actually revolves around a train crash from 1904. And where they say that several animals that were in a circus that was traveling through Kansas City with animals aboard and all the sideshow people and everything, it crashed. A 12-foot tall gorilla escaped. Many people believe the Beaman Monster was really the offspring of this escaped gorilla. But see, we got to get through the idea and like figure out, like, we got to break this down about how is there a 12-foot gorilla? Now, could it have been back in those days, there were giants still, right? I mean, there were still giants around here and people didn't question them as much, you know? So there could have been like I'm not saying, but 12, or it could have been a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Could have been a Bigfoot maybe. But here's the thing about it. It didn't look, okay, so well, that's why they say it's the offspring of something like that, because this creature we're talking about tonight doesn't look like a Bigfoot. It's similar to a Bigfoot, but it has the face of a dog or a wolf. But here's the thing too, like, I don't believe Bigfoot and Dogman canine species are going to be able to procreate. Okay, so how is that going to be hybrid? I don't know. I'm not an expert on that.
Well, you know my thoughts and theory about what I think it possibly could be, and you know the term Bigfoot was not even close to being coined at that point. You know that didn't come around till the 50s, so
yeah,
it would have different names, but could have possibly been a Gugway.
That's what I was thinking, Robbie. Okay, that's what I was thinking. We're going to go there too. Just a second. Okay, so a lot of this. Okay, so many believe the Beaman Monster was really the offspring of this escaped gorilla, but I just don't see a 12-foot tall gorilla being real. But anyways, there is actually a hunt that happened. So apparently there were like a lot of sightings of this thing back in the 1950s. So what did the guys do? They probably drank some moonshine and some liquor, and they probably got their guns and their fellas together, and they formed a posse. Man, I'd love to go on a posse, man. I think actually I have been on posses. I just didn't call it that. But they got a posse together in the 1950s, and people were quote carrying all sorts of shotguns and stuff. Now that also happens quite often. It definitely happened in the 1950s and before that, probably through the 1960s and 70s, where people were getting posses together to go hunt down werewolves, Bigfoot, wild men, whatever stuff that was killing their livestock. And this is no different. So they say that whenever these things would like get out of hand, they would pretty much call up the posse and like they would go look for this thing, but they never found it. Okay. Some people claim that this is actually just a made up story since they never found a body. We still haven't found a Bigfoot body, technically. People have.
That we know of.
Exactly. But they say that there was nothing was ever found. So they think it was just like one of those cautionary tales that parents would tell their kids. Be like, hey, you know, don't go in the woods at night. I mean, I got it when I was a kid. We had Rawhead and Bloody Bones, and we had Mad Maud in the woods. We also had the little boy in the wall. I couldn't escape because he would be in the wall at my grandparents' house. But
well, you've heard me tell it in my story. My great grandmother used to tell me all the time when I go play in the woods, don't you go too far in the woods, and boogers will get you. Back then, I didn't know boogers was I didn't know booger was a term for Bigfoot back then. You know, that's just. But she never would elaborate on what that meant. I just thought she, you know, like you just said, I just thought she's trying to scare me, so I didn't go too far away from the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, fast forward to my sighting, and now knowing what I know, you start thinking of that and pulling these threads together, and you're like, maybe she knew more than she told me.
She did. She might have. I mean, my grandparents, especially my granddaddy, he was really into playing jokes on us all the time. He was hilarious. I don't even think he meant to be funny, but he was always funny. And but when he would say stuff like that, he was. I mean, it kind of straddled the fence of like, is he being serious or is he joking? You know, and so I never left. I never went into the woods at night at their house. I also was terrified to go to bed because he would start knocking on the walls in the middle of the night and having like a little boy voice. He'd be like, help, I'm stuck in the wall. I can't get out. Stuff. I would wake up to that. Okay, sometimes at my grandparents' house, though. Shout out to my granddaddy, Henry. He's in heaven. Watching me right now talking about him, probably laughing. But anyways, so this is a big time cautionary tale for kids too. But I don't know, maybe they need it. Okay, maybe they had bad kids living in that town too. But okay, so a 29-year-old Sedalia native, Damon Smith, claimed to have seen the creature and described it as something like a coyote or a wolf. He saw it when he was around 10 years old. He was riding in his uncle's pickup truck, and a wolf-shaped creature emerged from the woods. It started running on the sides of the vehicle. So it was like running up next to his truck. The uncle told him that it was the Beaman legend, and he had not heard anybody speak of that before, and he hadn't really heard about it since. But he said it wasn't quite animalistic. He said it's hard to explain unless you've seen it. And that's how this thing is actually described, is that it has a very human-like face. It has like a muzzle on its face, almost like a werewolf or something. It looks like a Bigfoot in the body. It's got like kind of longer hair on it, but its face has like a muzzle, like a dog, but it also looks human. My God, that sounds weird. It sounds like to me, it sounds like a werewolf or something, or a gugway. We're going to pull up pictures of a gugway, y'all, in case nobody knows what a gugway is. My audience does. My regulars, we know what a gugway is. So the Smith guy, he remembered a pig being mauled to death in the back in the past. And he said that there were no signs of any kind of like predator around it. They didn't find any tracks around it or anything. And another time, a dark figure moved across the woods during a thunderstorm. He said it was one of those things. He thought it was a figment of his imagination. But he said that he knows there's something else out there, is what this guy said. So there have been reports of footprints. And there's a fella named Steve. He was around 41 years old when they took this report. He said that he grew up near Smithton. That must be close by there, I guess. But he saw something when he was about 12 years old. He and his friend went behind his friend's parents' house to go dig up worms. And it was a spring. He said the grass was wet, and it looked like a deer had laid down on the ground right there. You could see it from the dew had been disturbed. And they noticed some footprints. He said there were huge footprints. They followed them down to the pond, and they got spooked. He said they were so big. The footprints were so big. He didn't say how many inches they were. He said the stride was so big, like there's no way it could have been a human. And for the audience, if you're not familiar with what like stride, like when you're tracking and stuff, like you measure between the footprints. Okay, basically that's
From
layman's terms.
the back of the heel from the furthest track to the front of the toes on the second track. That's your stride length.
Yes. Yep. Well, they said that he said that they think that they okay, so they said they know, this guy said that he knows this Beaman monster exists, whatever. Okay, so there's another fellow who's around 65 years old, say his name's Jerry, in Sedalia. He was in high school in 1957 or 1958, and Broadway, he said, when Broadway Boulevard was widened to 4 lanes. Now here we go with the growth, okay, and tearing up their environments out there. He said it was about the same time the technology came along that used strobe lights for construction. You know, like they put them on those orange, buckets, whatever. I don't know what you call those things, and barrels, and they have those strobe lights out there. Oh my God, this is interesting because he said that I think some of the kids or some teenagers had taken one of those construction barrels, and they had the blinkers on it, and so they had flashing lights. They covered it with brush and they hid it in a field, and so they were driving out there and it was flashing. So people were saying, "Oh, those are the lights of their eyes of the Beaman, cryptid out there." And so it was kind of like they did it as like a joke. And so people were like, "Oh, it's always teenagers playing tricks on the community." Basically, none of this is real. It's a bunch of teenagers playing tricks on people. I don't know about you, but I have recently been contacted by multiple people. Okay, and by multiple, I just mean like more than one. Okay, it could be like 2 or 3, but there's one person just contacted me and sent me a video of what they suspect is a Dogman. And these eyes are like following them through the woods and stuff, and they're bright green. Okay, and they kind of fly. You can see when the eyes like blink and stuff. I'm sure you've seen the video. I'm not going to say who it is live right now, but it's pretty compelling to me.
You've seen Maggie's video, right?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, yes. That's almost exactly what happened to Maggie and her daughter.
Yes. Yeah, I have talked to Maggie. I didn't know Maggie until recently. We just have talked. So, but I find that pretty compelling, considering that I have seen the self-illuminated eye glow kind of thing. Ed's in the chat. I was with Ed and David, know them, and so I have kind of seen that. It wasn't that bright though. Okay, like some of this eye shine is really bright, and it does. Listen, they have an excuse. Like these teenagers did that, and they put these blinking lights out there in the field, or did they? Okay, or did they? Maybe that's just an excuse. All right, we will not know. But let's see. So this is a big part of their local legends and lore, of course. And let's get into the physical description of what this thing is. So it's large, bipedal. It has the head resembling a wolf, and a body that resembles a gorilla. It has long, shaggy hair covering its bodies. Its eyes are described as being bright and piercing. They are around 7 to 9 feet tall. And they say it probably weighs about 500 pounds. I'd say it probably weighs more than that, but I don't know. It depends on how big it is. And it says the arms are longer than its legs, which are very much like a Bigfoot. But it's been reported to have a powerful grip. I don't know how they know that, but okay. And witnesses have reported that the Beaman emits a strong, musky odor and is capable of emitting a loud guttural growl and some howls. So, but here's the thing, like some of the Dogman investigations that I've done, like where I've gone and camped out in the middle of where they got attacked and all that kind of stuff, it usually ends up being Bigfoot, aggressive Bigfoot. Yeah. Okay. So that may be what they're dealing with out here. Of course, the question is like, is this real or is it not? I mean, I don't know. I think it's probably real, first of all. Bigfoots are everywhere, right?
Same logic that we applied last night. Think of the time frame that this happened. There was no internet. There was no, seeing what this person across the country had said and thinking, I'm gonna make that up and make that around here. And when people said stuff back then, most people took it on face value because your word was your bond back then.
That's right.
So
it still is to me. Okay.
Right, but it's
I mean,
not
for people
not
I know at least.
but not like it was back then.
Yeah.
And
All I have is my word to my balls.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
people wouldn't take the
I had to
chance on
say
saying
that.
stuff
I don't have balls.
unless they actually were. I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but for the most part, it's people that wouldn't take the chance on saying stuff like that if they didn't think it, or didn't believe what they were saying.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a, if you saw it, I mean, people's lives would be destroyed if they reported on something and it was like, I mean, you're going to look crazy no matter what, but especially back then, before there was like support groups, so to speak, on like Bigfoot sightings and Dogman encounters and stuff. Back then, I mean, look how ostracized people got, like Albert Osman and all the guys that came forward about the Ape Canyon attack that back in the 1920s. And we're talking about like some of the first sightings were like back in the early 1900s. Okay, early 1900s. They said that's actually back when that train crashed and the 12-foot gorilla. How'd they get a 12-foot gorilla in a train car too? What's up with that?
Very carefully.
He had to sit. Well, they used to call it Indian style. Now it's called something different. But yeah, he's smushed up in there, I guess. That would make for a good remote viewing target right there, whatever that 12-foot gorilla was. But okay, so 7 to 9 feet tall, about 500 pounds, and it stunk. It was funky. It was a little funky thing. And they say that it has been compared to either a Bigfoot or a Wolfman. That's where the question's coming in now. Like, what is this, Robbie? Is it a Bigfoot? Is it a Wolfman? Is it a werewolf? Is it I don't know, whatever it could be, a Dogman. It could be a Dogman too. Could be all of it because it could be multiple creatures in this area as well. And people are they're all putting that label. It's just like when we talk about when I was learning like this remote viewing stuff that I do. It's like you don't label stuff. Okay, like don't label it. It's everything. It's all of it. Okay, and I think that's the case. It could be the case with this, but let's get into the Wolfman side of it. I think this is important. So Bigfoot are typically reported taller than the Beaman, and with longer hair and more human-like appearance. The Wolfman, on the other hand, is typically reported as having more canine and a snout, and that's kind of how this thing has been reported, almost like human-like with a kind of a snout. Okay, now we do know that there are Gugway out there. Now, here's the thing about this, though. Okay, if this were a Gugway, Robbie, don't you think it'd be like violent and like, I don't know. I don't know what the missing persons stats are up there too, though. You know what I mean? I could pull that map up that my favorite person made. Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. Well, let's see. We're looking in Missouri. Hold on. I don't think there's a missing persons cluster up there, though. There's not. There are no missing people clusters up there. That's an old map, though, too.
Yeah, I mean, there are some. I mean, and here's the thing, though, and we've always pointed this out. That's only people who are reported.
True.
Think about the transient population that has nobody to report them. I mean, if there's nobody to report them, how many? Because NAM USA reports that I think it's numbers like 600,000 people a year go missing, but that number's probably undersold because if there's nobody to report all these transient populations that live in the woods and the old hobo camps, as you used to call them, and they go missing, as law enforcement, we don't see them anymore. We think they just moved on to a different area. So,
well, let me pull up. Okay, look, we got the cave systems too. Let's see if there's any caves up there. I'm gonna have to blow my screen up here. Oh, they got a good bit of caves.
Missouri's got a lot of caves.
Oh my god.
Missouri has I think Missouri's second only to Tennessee. Tennessee's got the most caves in the country, I believe. But Missouri's like right there.
Robbie, I had no idea. Wow, I had to blow up my screen for that one. They're all caves. It's like Tennessee is like one big
Mhm.
cave.
Yep.
The whole state is a bunch of caves. So is Missouri.
Hmm.
Wow, that's interesting. Maybe you know what that could definitely explain why there's so many cryptids out there. So
And
many weird things.
we started working on that theory about 3 years ago. Now all of a sudden, all these bigger channels than than our two channels combined
Right?
are talking about this theory and putting these videos out that are getting 700, 800,000 views on it. But we started talking about this 3 years ago, that if you overlap the missing 411, the Bigfoot sightings, and the caves, if you overlay those three maps, they match. I mean, you know there's just one more map that you put up there that you don't have, but that's the Bigfoot sightings and the missing 411 clusters.
And I
But
got the deep underground military bases
Yep.
too. And look, there's one that goes straight through the state, Robbie. Straight
Hmm.
through the state right there with the underground trail systems and all that. It goes right through there
Well, you said
in the Great
you felt
Lakes.
like there was one in Joe Bald.
I did. Let's pull it up again. I got to look at that. Wow, look at that. That is wild. Inner Earth access map. Okay, by inner Earth, that doesn't necessarily mean like, I don't know what it means actually. I was just
Well,
looking at chunks.
we kind of got to talking about that hollow earth theory, and not like they talk about it on Monarch, where it's just a big open area, but
Mm-hmm.
like honeycombed. I
Yeah,
mean, how thick is the Earth's crust?
it's thick, thick.
Very thick.
Dang, it's
So
thick.
if you're in a big cavern, theoretically you could have ecosystems, and they've actually found ecosystems in, I think, not Brazil, but maybe Portugal, but they actually found some underground ecosystems now, almost like Jules Verne described over 100 years ago. Now you start getting out, going down that Jules Verne rabbit hole. How the heck did he describe a nuclear submarine 100 years before we ever had a nuclear submarine? Because
Time travel.
The Nautilus was basically a nuclear submarine.
Wow, summaries keep coming up all the time, and that even has to do with like some of this the remote viewing targets I've been given of like missing 411 clusters and stuff. Submarines were in that data, and I believe there are all these submarines and they're using them in these aquifers under the ground. And there's all sorts of we don't there's like whole other civilizations underground, Robbie. Okay, it's a whole new world down there.
Well, I 100% believe our theory that these cryptids are subterranean.
I believe that too. I believe it too. And I feel you on the bigger channels watching and taking all of our ideas, using them and
Hmm.
stuff. It happens to me all the time. Me and Barry talk about it. Barry complains about it more than I do because I try to keep quiet about it on publicly, but it does get a little frustrating. It
Oh
does
yeah.
because we come up with some really good theories, and then just
I
for people
won't
to take them.
I won't say the name of the channel because I don't want to give them any more coming, because they've already. But they did a show on the Bauman incident a
Oh
couple
yeah,
of months ago. How long, Jessica? How long have Da Doc and Steve and I been talking about the Bauman incident with Teddy Roosevelt?
a long time.
That's at least 4 years that we've been talking about it. We've done like multiple shows on that,
Hmm.
and that channel puts it out. And I think it was actually last year that I found it. They put it out, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, well, it is what it is. I'm just happy that people are getting the information out, I
Yeah.
guess, and like I'm here to just spread the knowledge, and people can run with it. That's fine. That's fine. Maybe one day our channels will be gigantic too. But Robbie, okay, just wait, just wait, okay, and but until then, hey, we're putting out some great information, and you and Da are pretty brilliant minds, man. I can appreciate it, and so yeah, I mean, we're connecting the dots. I really like to do that here. And tonight is no different. We're connecting a bunch of freaking dots tonight, and we're about to get in these circus trains that wrecked as well. But the most recent sighting of the Beaman Monster actually was in 2014. I'm sure there probably been other sightings, but they were not classified. Like it wasn't like, oh, it's the Beaman Monster. Okay, it was 2014. There was a man named Damon who said he saw the Beaman Monster when he was around 10. He was around 10 years old. Do you see a pattern here? All these witnesses said they were around 10 to 12 years old when they saw it. What's up with that, too? Okay.
When I had my first sighting, I was 8 or 9.
Do you think maybe these are like you're on that frequency when you're young and innocent? So like, not that you're not innocent now. I'm just saying.
Far from it. I think a lot of it is just when you're that age and you see something, you don't have all these preconceived notions built in.
Yeah.
You don't automatically say, "Oh, it must have been a bear," because I don't want to get ridiculed. As a child, you see what you see, and that's it. And you say, "That's what I saw," just like the kid from the first story I told when we first got on here. It's a cow man. It reminded me of a cow. The little boy from North Carolina. A bear kept me warm and gave me berries. We know that's not bear behavior. Bears don't take care of human babies, number one, or human toddlers. And number two, how's a bear bring it berries? It gave me berries.
It'll eat you.
That's just
bears will straight up eat you.
Yeah. And
that's a tasty snack.
I think it's just the whole mindset that you have. You don't have all those preconceived notions, but it's just like, if I go into an investigation and I've already got my mind, I know that so and so was seen around the area, somebody that I've dealt with, and I already get it made up in my mind that he did it, then the evidence I find is going to lead me to him, because I'm making it go that way in my mind. And you have to do the same thing with these investigations. You have to keep an open mind. And I think that's why, when these kids see stuff, kids don't see stuff any more than adults do. But adults, your mind's already set and made up, and for the most part. And, I've said this before on our show that, if we didn't have people that have been browbeaten so much and called crazy because they saw something, how many of those sightings that people say that it was a bear, if we didn't have that stigma of, oh, you're crazy, if we just had an open mind and believed like we did back then in the 1900s, you've done the research. How many news articles did they used to post in mainstream newspapers about wild? And it wasn't posted to make fun of people. It was hey, you're in this area, you need to know this. You might run across this thing. Now it's the stigma of making fun of people, and which we know that's kind of shifting now, a lot largely because of shows like we have, where people have the ability to come on and talk about it, and it's a safe space. I hate to use that word, safe space, but
safe space.
But it is, yeah. But it is, and it's, and Da and I have talked about this till we're blue in the face. If there was not that stigma of people worrying about how they're going to be perceived for saying this, if they could just say what they saw, how many of these black bear sightings, or it was a bear, would actually be, oh no, I saw something that I believe might have been a Bigfoot. I mean, I'm curious to know what that number would actually be if more people were just not worried about how people were going to perceive them.
Oh yeah. Listen, the Bigfoot rabbit hole is so deep, and being in the position that I'm in here and being public, and having all this research under my belt and stuff for all these years, almost 2 decades now, and I've made some pretty good friends. I luckily I think people can trust me, okay, and I think that the people who do trust me to like give me some really good information on stuff, the rabbit hole is so much deeper on all this, Robbie. And it's stuff I can't even talk about right now. It's just crazy. Some of the information, the intel that I'm getting on the cover-ups of Bigfoot and the cover-ups of Dogman and all this stuff, it puts people's lives in danger. And it could potentially put my life in danger, okay? Learning some of the things and stuff. I'm not saying I know anything. I don't know nothing about nothing, okay? But I'm just saying it's it's weird. It's weird how maybe it's just about the control factor with society, and also money has a lot to do with it as well.
Oh yeah.
And however, money runs the world, I guess. But I mean, hopefully things are changing, and the disclosure has started trickling out, and people like ourselves are talking about it. And there are people like us. I just don't care. I'll blurt stuff out sometimes, unless something that's I'm entrusted not to talk about. Okay, but I can just tell you, I can incorporate what I know into what I'm telling the public. Okay, even if I don't say it outright, at least I can incorporate it into my research. Okay, and that's a step, isn't it? That's good, right? So it's something. But yes, I love my life and I love my metaphorical balls. Thank you. Thank you, Angel. She says you have metaphorical balls, Jess. Yes, I do, I guess. Yes. Thank you. Oh man, tell you what, I always put my foot in my mouth somehow every show, and that's funny. But yes, my balls in my word.
Well, join the club.
I know, right?
DA will tell you I do that quite often.
Thank you, Angel, for your support.
He's in the chat, so I'm sure he'll chime in.
Is DA in here?
Yeah, he's here.
What's up? Okay, thank you, Angel, again. I appreciate that. And thank you, William. He says, in my eyes, you and Robbie are more influential than the massive podcast out there. Thank you so much. I'm proud of you too, William.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you for being here. That is very sweet. And what's up, DA? I see DA Roberts is in the chat, y'all. Go over to he and Robbie's podcast. It's called Nightmare Hunter Podcast over on YouTube. Y'all be sure to go and subscribe. And thank you for being here, DA. It's so great to see you. But yeah, I put my foot in my mouth, talking about putting your foot in your mouth, when I was at the Georgia Bigfoot conference that you were at. That guy that's always there from the newspaper, he's so nice. He's so nice, up at the Clayton Times or something. I don't know. And I was like, yeah, they used to put these reports in the newspaper back when the newspaper told the truth. Stuff. And he came up to me after my thing, and he was like, oh, I see how you feel about me. And I was like, oh God.
Well, at least you didn't. Really bad. At least you didn't run the whole room off like some other people. That was entertaining to watch from my chair in the back of the room.
Oh God, I just got
steady
sweaty.
Stream of people.
I can't believe you just said that out loud. Oh man.
I didn't say who it was. You know who I'm talking about. DA knows who I'm talking about.
DA knows. I'm sure DA knows. Okay.
Oh yeah, because I told him the story because I thought it was the funniest thing I ever seen in my life.
Yes. Look, okay, we all have different opinions, y'all. Okay, just for the audience, listen, we have different encounters and different experiences, and some people's experiences are a little more out there than others. Okay. And so Robbie and I have experienced all of that listening to some of the speakers at some of these events, and it's wonderful. I am so glad they're there telling us their experiences.
See DA's comment?
Oh man. Yes. I'm not even gonna put that on the screen. Thank you, DA. That's funny. Yes, because then it's gonna get obvious. All right. Well, anyways, let's get on to our remote viewing data. I'm just kidding.
See what I say? I done put my foot in my mouth already.
That's what I'm telling the audience. Y'all need to come to these events because it's actually fun. It's a lot of fun. Not only getting to meet everybody that's like a part of these podcasts and field researchers and stuff, but you get to hear encounter stories and stuff. Listen, we never make for y'all. We're not making fun of anybody. We're not. Okay. But there was a reaction from the audience, let's just say, that was not, it was not, what do you say, positive or something? And everybody got up and left.
No, it was definitely not positive.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, that person doesn't like me anyway, so I don't care. Okay. So let's get into this. Oh, Lord. Behavioral patterns. Look at it. Behavioral patterns of these cryptids. I'm thinking about our behavioral patterns tonight, Robbie. Look at us. Okay, so they do have festivals and stuff. Speaking of conferences, they do have a Beaman festival. So what that tells me, listen, there's a Lizard Man festival. We've got Bigfoot festivals. If this town has embraced this legend so much, that actually gives it more credence in my book because they have exhibits. They have an annual festival, Robbie. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I can think of one that has leaned into that it turned out to be a hoax. The Hodak up in, where's that? Michigan, I think.
The hodag. I don't know
Yeah.
where that's at, but it's a good
I
one.
think
Yeah.
literally they have this thing drawn on the side of their patrol cars. But
Oh, they do?
anyway, oh yeah. But that's the only one I know of for sure that people have. Ain't that flexible?
Y'all are funny. I
But
know. Me neither.
But usually most time,
Remote viewing is fun.
if these towns lean into this stuff like that, it's to me it's like they're like, okay, well, you know, might as well. It's either gonna bankrupt us or it's gonna help us out.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's wonderful when a town supports their local cryptids. Okay. And it can be big business for that town. And yes, that one of the last what was it, the Molina Bigfoot Festival, every October they have that down in South Georgia and or Middle Georgia. And the Consul General of Denmark was there. I got to meet him. I know that's kind of random, right? But he went and wrote an article about Bigfoot being big business for small towns. It was basically like kind of encouraging people to, embrace your local cryptids and stuff. And he featured me in that article. So shout out to him. That was really cool.
That's pretty cool.
But it is very cool. Okay, well, let's get into some of this remote viewing data because it's kind of weird, right? I mean, this is just a weird cryptid, or if it's even a real one. But I think it's a real one. And I think the question now is like, is this a Bigfoot? Is it a shape-shifting werewolf? Is it is it a descendant of this 12-foot gorilla? Whatever that is. All right. Well, let's get into it. Okay. And I'm not gonna say this is gonna answer any questions. It might leave us with more questions than answers. Okay, with this target right here. This is a blind remote viewing target. I was given some coordinates, and this is the data that came out of it, and it's weird. Okay. I don't know, Robbie. Help me make sense of this. Okay, when it makes no sense, help me make sense of it.
What I'm here for.
This is what you're here for.
Hopefully.
You're here to help me with this. Okay. So some of the sensory data for the Beaman Monster. Shaking, linked, pouring, big, large, burned, late, terrorized, firm, outside, and together. Okay. And some of my analytic overlay, that's like me making sense of my sensory data for this remote viewing target. I was picking up on something that was rattling people's nerves. So nerves rattled. There was a trifecta. I kept hearing alarms going off. I wrote, there's a role to play and something that was big time. A role to play, big time. I wrote casted. I mean, honestly, I'm writing down role to play and casted. I'm thinking like, could this be like an actor or maybe this isn't real? But I think this is a real thing. Okay. I think it's a real cryptid. But I wrote burnout, late night, on a lot. I was like on a lot, a plot of land. So like late night on land near a lake. I wrote lake, farmland. I was seeing horses on this land, like a farm that had horses on it. And some more horse data and stuff, but I was definitely picking up on a farm. Something late at night. So maybe this thing is like roaming around late at night and stuff, and it's hiding on these farms. Okay. And so I wrote down the next page, my stage 4 data. I wrote down angry, incredibly angry. That's what I wrote down. Incredibly angry. And a humanoid was in my data. Okay. I wrote down impersonator as well. Impersonator. So like I was picking up on almost like I was picking up on an actor or like someone that was playing a role. And then I wrote impersonator on the second page, but I was picking up on a humanoid. Okay. So, I mean, if we want to get deep in this, we could say, some of my tangible data was like being a person or a humanoid. I wrote down humanoid. A humanoid. What did I write down? Human. Yeah, human. I wrote down humanoid twice. So like a humanoid. There's a humanoid that was incredibly angry is what I wrote. But maybe it's like, maybe people are just getting it confused with something else or misidentifying it, or maybe it's trying to pretend to be something different. Like we were talking about the cowman. The kid was seeing it amongst a bunch of cows. And maybe this is like how it kind of blends in and stuff. Like it goes and it camouflages amongst other animals and stuff.
Could be. Now he didn't see it around a bunch of cows. That's just what it reminded him of. That's where he. It's not saying that it didn't do that, but in the initial report, that's not. It wasn't. There was no cows around because when the father found the hair, he thought it was horse hair. But yeah.
Well, you know that actually that okay, so that actually reminds me too of that investigation I did a couple weeks ago. We found a hair in the top part of the barbed wire on the top of the fence in the back where all the activity happens, and it was in a little place where like there's a creek, a drainage creek, and the cows and the horses can't fit over there. Okay, like they literally can't fit on that little piece of land right there. And not to say they haven't like squeezed over there if they got scared or something. Okay, but the owner was like, no, like we were there. I took some hair samples and stuff, and it was black hair. I haven't had it tested or anything yet, but yeah, to me it looked as though something was like jumping over the fence, and maybe some of the hair got caught in it or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know. They like to go back there, and that's a good place to hide, I guess, is amongst the animals and around those farms. Okay, so I wrote down walking upright. Okay, that was in my data. Walking upright, a humanoid. I was picking up on like blue beam data as well. You know what blue beam is? Like Project Blue Beam, where there's like holograms and things are kind of like not what we think they are. So I was picking up on that, but I wrote down some kind of intel. I was picking up on some kind of intel. I wrote down bipedal hairy man. Bipedal hairy man looks like a man. I wrote down looks like a man, and I was in an outdoor setting at night. I kept picking up like being on a farm or like some kind of outdoor area with like a lot of land at night was something. There was at least one humanoid there that looked like a man, but it wasn't a man.
Well, I mean, that was primarily what all these things by you know, most of the non-native folk, that's what they would call was, you know, wild man or hairy man. You know, that I mean, go back like we talked about earlier. Look at all the newspaper articles. That's what they called them. You know, they did because, like, you know, term Bigfoot wasn't around at that point.
That's right. Well, this is going to be interesting because I got one more page of data, and in the third page of data, the word wolfman is in my data. Wolfman. Okay, so I wrote part of my analytic overlay. I heard run it back, whatever that means. Run it back. Historical. I was picking up on something that was like old, way back in. I wrote way back in the day, back in time, and then I heard a voice say Wolfman. I heard a voice, Wolfman, and I was like in a plot of land where people were hunting. Like I was seeing people hunting. I wrote down lake, land, grass, filled woods. Violation. I was picking up on like a violation or something, whatever that is. But dense woods and hiding out. So whatever this was hiding out in the woods, and so that was my data. But I do believe. I think that first of all, this thing is real. Whatever this is, there may be a whole bunch of them. I don't know, but there's something out there, and people are encountering this thing now. Did it descend from a 12-foot tall gorilla? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know if that's even true.
Typically, most Gugway sightings, most people look around or estimate around the, you know, anywhere from 7 to 10-foot mark. There's usually on the smaller scale. William, correct me if I'm off on that at all, but I think that's usually the size parameters of most Gugway sightings. So yeah, that's consistent with what you said. Most of the people were saying around the size mark. So, obviously angry and aggressive that you could put up with that yeah. Definitely tracks. Did they say anything about the tracks they found? Did they say anything about
how many? They were large. They said they were large. Nothing about toes. I was looking. There's no inches. There's no length. There's no width. It's just big. Or just like it's just big.
Because most people genuinely believe that like most of the Honey Island swamp monster tracks were 3-toed. The tracks they found in the field in Arkansas, in that guy's bean field, those were 3-toed tracks. So most people think that Gugway might have 3 toes. And you know, DA and I talked about that. That could be a genetic defect inbreeding if it's a smaller population.
That's what I always think too. Inbreeding. That's what my buddy David Pardue always says. It's inbreeding, and probably inbreeding, or there could be a reptilian aspect to it. Some of those Honey Island swamp monster tracks, actually, some people were saying they were alligator tracks too, but I don't know. I don't
But
remember exactly.
I've heard that too. But if you
Yeah.
look at the watch the movie, which actually has actual footage of it, and I've seen the actual casting. It was at the Monster Mart in Texarkana. There's no webbing in it.
No
There's no
webbing.
claw. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, there's
Nice.
no. If you've looked at an alligator print,
Yes.
you see the toad, but you can clearly see the webbing. There's no webbing in those tracks.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it came under a little scrutiny. That's all.
Yeah.
With the being in the swamps and stuff too. I mean, my mind goes straight to reptilian. Okay, that's where I don't always go straight to reptilian, but I mean, there's plenty of Bigfoots that have been, left three-toed tracks as well, and that's usually what I would consider probably would be like either the breed, the species, maybe there's different species of them, but inbreeding would be another one. Okay, I don't know. I don't know any humans with three toes. Do you? I've never met
Nah,
anybody. I've never met.
not that I
Maybe
know of,
six.
anyway.
Yeah. Not that I know of. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of alien hybrid people that are being put out into the public right now, I believe. Did you see that lady that's like in the president's administration or something? She's got this long neck. I know, it's all over the news. It's all over TikTok. Oh, man. Yeah. People with like necks.
Well,
are
it's
longer
got to be
than
true.
normal.
It's all over TikTok.
It is my trusted news source. Wink, wink. But it's more than just TikTok. It's on Instagram too, Robbie. Okay. But anyways,
Well,
it's better than CNN. Am I right? I'm saying.
well, that's true.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of.
I'll give you that one.
Here. I got a point. I know I got a point. but yeah, William said yes, Robbie, from your question earlier.
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Well, I think that whatever this is, I think it's real. The Beaman Monster. I think this is probably real. I think there's probably a whole bunch of different kinds of them. I don't think it's just one. Like with all these other cryptids, that's what I would assume. So let's look into these circuses. Okay, this is what I've been dying to look at tonight. Let's look at the circuses. Okay, my brain, my rational brain is like, we need to track down this train wreck. Okay, let's track it down. And let me take that down. Thank you, William. Let's see what all we got here before I pull it up. Okay, so the first thing that I looked into was there a circus in Missouri? And I'm sure there was, but they were having all those World's Fairs, Robbie, around this time, the old World's Fairs. And so I found this is one of the first things that I found, and I'll share my screen briefly. Under the Dome, 1904, Kansas, semi-centennial. State House grounds, highest honor ever conferred on an amusement enterprise. Now, I don't even know what this is exactly. I think this might be alluding to like a World's Fair or something, or maybe it's just, it looks like the state capitol. It looks like they had a fair at their state capitol grounds, which does look like an old world building, by the way. It does. And let's see, what is this? I think this is just some artwork or something. This is a circus poster, but this is historical and it goes back to an actual event. I mean, that looks like there's going to be some sideshow carnival people there. What do you think? You think there's a bearded lady in that crowd?
Possibly. Very possibly.
A bearded lady. And probably some dog-faced men and probably maybe even a 12-foot gorilla. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, so there's that. So I found, that was the first thing I found. Wait, there's more. Okay, and so we got that. All right, so the Ringling Brothers Circus. Okay, let me pull this one up next. So I also did a search as to like, wait, maybe I should bring the other one up first. Hold on, let me see. Circus names. Okay, I'm going to pull this one up next. This is just a list of all the different circuses that actually were going on back in the 1900s, and they're all Ringling Brothers. Like, good grief, this goes way back. Under the Dome, Ringling Brothers. These are the circus routes. I found the circus routes, Robbie. Oh man, it doesn't take that much. It took me 5 minutes to get all this information, actually. And so here we go. St.
Oh, look
Louis
at
is in
there.
Missouri.
Kansas City.
Where's Kansas City on here? There it is, right there.
Mhm.
1904, Kansas City, Sells and Downs Circus. Okay, let's see if I can click on it. Oh gosh, when I click on it, it doesn't do anything. Dang it. Okay, well, it doesn't do anything, but here's the
There's
thing.
another Kansas City, Barnum and Bailey.
Is there 1904?
Yep.
Let's see.
And there's Ringling Brothers 1904 in Kansas City.
Oh, there it is right there. Okay. 1904, 1907. There's one. Ringling Brothers. Yeah. Okay. This is all still 1904. It's really light. It's hard for me to see that. I need my glasses. Where are
And
my
there's
glasses at?
1904 Barnum and Bailey, greatest show on earth in Kansas City. So
Right here.
that's three major circuses in Kansas City in
Joplin as well. That's
1904.
just south of there.
Yeah, Joplin's
Yeah.
not far from Kansas City.
Look, I mean, we got a second page too. I mean, there's a lot. The circus came through here quite a bit. I don't know if y'all can see this. Let me look. Yeah, y'all can see that one. Okay. So this is all of 1904. Okay, yeah, I don't see any more Kansas City, but that doesn't mean that these other towns might not have been close to there, right? So there's a lot of circuses that went through there. Now, did they have a train wreck? That's the next question. I couldn't really find if they had a train wreck anywhere, but let's see. When I'm doing this research, y'all, I'm trying to be thorough here. Let's look at this. This is the history of the Ringling Brothers Circus, because a lot of these were Ringling Brothers. Okay, hold on. Routes. Ringling Brothers Circus. This is from 1884 to 1919. I wanted to see, like, what all would that consist of, Robbie, right? Would they have a 12-foot tall gorilla in here? And it says, this is just the history. We're talking about the family who were the Ringling Brothers and their wives and where they toured. The circus toured the Midwest United States and grew slowly. In 1888, the Ringlings purchased their first elephant, a creature that most Midwesterners had not seen in the late 1800s. After the purchase of the elephant, the circus began to thrive. That elephant was all it took.
Yep.
In 1890, the circus changed from a horse-drawn wagon to railroad cars, thus extending their route and lengthening their tour. By 1900, the circus had become a strong competitor of the larger and more well-known Barnum and Bailey circus. And then they bought another circus, and they became the Barnum and Bailey circus. And so
1919 is when Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey merged.
Okay, well, there's some books right here if you guys want to go check out the books on this. You know, there's a clown. I think there's a clown school down in Florida. If you guys want to go learn how to be a clown, my uncle was joking about how I should go to clown school. He said at one point. And,
Steve-O from Jackass, he actually went to Ringling Brothers Clown College. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like your worst nightmare if you're not into clowns, right? But
yeah.
But anyways, okay, so there's that. Let's see. Well, I guess that's about it. I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to, find some proof that there were some circuses in the area at that time. I could not find any kind of information on a train crash, Robbie, anywhere. But the circuses did go through there several times in 1904. Okay, what is that? 3 or 4 you counted, right?
Yeah, at least 3, maybe 4.
3 or 4. All right. Well, it's up to all of you sleuths out there. If y'all want to look into that a little bit further, we know what the circuses were now, and I have a list. But I couldn't find any train wrecks. Okay, and there was no mention of it. And not to say there wasn't, but we know there were circuses that went through there. 4. Now, what's up with the circuses in their train wrecks? I mean, I know we mentioned that at the beginning of the show, but my goodness, is that just like the going excuse? Like that's like the what do you call it? Like the template. It's like the template. It's like the excuse of like all these critters and werewolves and Bigfoots that have just kind of shown up in these areas. It was a circus train wreck. I don't know how many. I can count 2, but I know there's more, Robbie. Do you know of other ones other than the Werewolf Springs?
Yeah, we've talked about them.
let's see.
1904. Let me look.
One of the here June 22nd of 1918, the deadliest circus train disaster in the 1900s occurred on June 22nd, 1918, in Hammond, Indiana. So that was from Hagenbeck Wallace Circus. August 6, 1903, Durand, Michigan. So there's definitely some reported.
Ooh, I got some pictures. Y'all want to see them? This is for entertainment purposes only. Look at this at your own discretion, y'all. This might be, I haven't really examined these. There might be some carnage out here. I don't know. These are circus train wrecks. Holy cow. Jesus. Look at these, Robbie. These are crazy. Let's see. A circus train wreck. Now, that's no joke. Good Lord.
Well, most train wrecks aren't. I mean, I've worked a few in my time, and train wrecks are.
Circus train jumps the tracks. This was
like Ringling Brothers.
That's 1994. I was still in high school back then. Okay, we're looking for the older ones, but man, that is rough. I've actually seen a train wreck before, a bad one. I watched it happen right in front of me. On Christmas Eve, when I was a little kid, we were driving home from my grandparents' house, trying to get home so Santa Claus could come. And this lady her car was broken down on the train tracks in this little small town we had to go through. And a train was coming. And my dad had enough time to try to grab her keys and get her German Shepherd out of the back of her car right before the train hit. He was trying to push her car off, but she was panicked. And but we watched a train collide with her car. It was horrible. There's a lot of damage that gets done when these trains hit. Man, this is a lot more than I was expecting, Robbie. Oh my God. Man. All right, so these are just some more of the pictures here. This one's still got smoke. So yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, this was one of the main modes of travel, right, Robbie? Back then, especially for big, I don't know, big animals and things like that.
Yeah, and all the equipment that they would have to carry. I mean, you didn't have semi trailers and things like that back then, so that was really if you were moving a big mobile thing like that, and especially if you were going to, because that's how a lot of things were moved back then. If you were moving a lot of stuff and you were following that circuit, because a lot of the big cities had train depots, so that's a good place to follow that little circuit.
Oh yeah. Here's another one. This is in Michigan. It says, look, there's a dead elephant right there. Look at all the dead animals. Oh Lord. I'm so sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to show all that, honestly, but here's one, 1918 circus train wreck. That's in, what is that, Indiana?
Yeah, that was
Illinois.
the one. No,
that's
Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah, the Hagenbeck Wallace Circus. That's the one I read you about before you found the pictures. That they said that was the deadliest one of all time.
All right.
86 people died and over 100 others were injured.
I feel bad for joking about this now. I had no idea it was this bad. Like, this is really crazy. Look, I mean, that is wild. I mean, just pulling that up and showing all these wrecks. These are all circus train wrecks. Maybe not all these right here, but the ones at the top. Yeah, here's another one. And it's just carnage. Look at that. And the poor animals, that's really sad. Okay, well, I'm going to quit looking at these because this is depressing now. I wasn't expecting that. All right, I wasn't expecting it to be that much. This is a rabbit hole right here. This is a real rabbit hole because, you saw how much carnage that was and how all the wreck was like. I mean, there would have been animals escaping, and whatever was caged could escape that.
Yeah, and there was probably way more than that before they had photographs and were able to, document it like that.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Because the one in Werewolf Springs was in the 1800s. So
I mean, I'm glad that we actually looked this up tonight because I had never done that. I never looked into it that much. I didn't know it was that deep. I did not. And William says, did you know that the circus trains were thought to carry the remains of exotic cryptids for the government and Smithsonian?
well, hiding in plain sight.
That's right. Man, I have seen some stuff recently. I don't even know what to think about. It's man, they have been doing this for a long time, and it's all about the money, and it's all about the elite. Let's just say the elite. Okay. The elite trafficking, if you want to call it that. And you know, it's been coming out recently. Like, you know, all the elite are eating mermaids, and you know, big homie Cece came out talking about how he went to a billionaire's house that had a taxiderm Bigfoot in it and stuff. So I mean, it's out in the public. People think it's a joke. I don't think it's all a joke, Robbie.
Oh, I don't either.
When you got money, you're gonna do the weird. You're gonna buy weird stuff. Okay, if you got the money to spend, you're gonna eat weird stuff. Probably. I'm not gonna say I eat weird stuff anyways, but I don't eat that kind of weird stuff. I eat hyenas, so that's pretty much as weird as it gets. But anyways, yeah, William, that's a good point. They probably do. I would never put that past whoever. You say the government and the Smithsonian. Well, let's go back to that 12-foot gorilla. What if it was like a giant or something? You know, where are the bones of that thing? They said that it escaped, so I don't know. This is all very fascinating. And it's almost turned into the last part of the show, just like circus train wrecks. We've gone off the rails tonight, and got
Literally.
to see some carnage. Seriously, yeah. Oh well. This has been fantastic, Robbie. I appreciate you being here with me.
Oh, I always have a good time.
I know, don't we have fun? We really do. Let me see what the audience is saying. What's up, David Pardue? I see you in here. Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't had a chance to look at the chat too much, but that's true. Yes, the elite guard the knowledge. They do secret societies, the gatekeepers, the Agent Smiths, absolutely. And we're just here, just I don't know, waiting to get that proverbial knock at my door again. I'm just kidding, but yeah, it's true though. The elite, they guard all the knowledge. I'd put it little e on there.
Yep.
Okay, I do it lowercase e, David. Okay, lowercase e. But yeah, they're hiding stuff. And I mean, just imagine if you had a lot of money too, wouldn't you want a taxiderm Bigfoot? Maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't, because I think they're people, right? But for people who don't know, or they just hear that, like, oh, I could get a Bigfoot if I had $1 million. Yeah, I want one of those for 50 million or 20 million or whatever. I'll take 2, right? That's probably what they're saying. So it's just to make you think, y'all. Little breadcrumbs there. And and if you don't think it's not happening, or if it hasn't happened, think again. Think again. Little e. David said little e. He stands corrected. I'm just kidding. Thanks, David. Oh man. Well, anyways, I think this has been great. In conclusion tonight, I do believe that the Beaman Monster is a real cryptid of some sort. It's something. Now, I do believe it's probably more like a wolfman. You know, if we want to get into the topic of like gugways and stuff, I mean, it doesn't seem as though it's like attacking people, but the Beast of Seven Shoots didn't really attack people, but that's also considered a gugway.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch out for your livestock and your small pets.
We did a show on that, you and I.
We did. Actually, I have some pictures we can pull up of what gugway look like if anyone's interested. My throat keeps closing up, so I know that something is trying to get me to shut up. So there's some force out there. It's like, Jessica, shut up, quit talking. Okay, here, let's see. Let's get a good one. This one right here looks like a monkey. It's got that baboon face. Take off the blue and red. Take off the blue thing on its face, and that's probably what they look like. That's like the Beast of Seven Shoots right there, except for the blue thing on its face.
Yeah, that's more of a baboon snout. Most people think it's more like a mandrill, which doesn't have the colorations. Same structure, just doesn't have those colorations like a baboon does.
It also looks like a Bigfoot, though, doesn't it? With a cone head. It looks just like a Bigfoot. But it does have that. Let's see. And this is kind of the picture right here that people talk about. Like that could be like one with the big teeth.
Yep.
And it's got the fangs and stuff.
Well, I mean, you know what?
There we go. That looks good.
You know what Gugway translates into?
The face eater.
Mm-hmm.
Face eaters, face peelers. We got all that. We've got all that. That one's got like the bottom fangs. That's like a freaking mountain monster right there. A mountain giant. Let's see. There's some other good pictures here I saw earlier. They also like to hide in the fog, Robbie. Yep. They're known to be in Yellowstone National Park, hiding in the fog. They say that's where the hikers go missing. How they go missing.
If you want to watch a good Bigfoot movie that really kind of leans into Gugway, Primal.
Oh, that sounds good. What is that?
Yep. Pull up Primal and look at the you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you
Primal movie. Okay. Primal. Is this it?
No, keep going. Keep going.
Primal. Should I type in something else like
maybe wait a minute. I thought I saw it there for a second. Maybe Primal Bigfoot movie.
Okay. Primal Bigfoot. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, look at the one with see the one with the girl and him behind it. That one and the one right beside it. Yeah, that one and then the one right beside it.
Is that a little girl or a woman?
That's a woman.
Hey.
But they depict it as wearing armor in certain scenes. But if you click back out of it and click the one right beside it, that's it without.
Oh. Well, that looks disturbing. So that would be like a Gugway kind of, I guess. Mm-hmm. Oh, geez.
Yes, Primal Rage. Gosh, I'm sorry. It's Primal Rage, not Primal.
Okay. Yeah, hide your kids, hide your wife. That's just wild.
Actually, a pretty good movie.
Is it? Okay, I'm going to have to watch that one when I get a chance. Primal Rage. Well, there's your Gugway, y'all. And your Genosquas or whatever. That does look kind of evil, actually.
Yeah.
That would be evil.
They don't call it a Gugway in there. I can't remember what name they use a Native American name in it. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but we've talked about it on our show, and DA and I both believe that they were depicting a Gugway in that.
Oh man, who was that? I think it was Mike. Mike said he didn't want that. Yeah, Mike said, I'm not sure I'd want that one taxidermed in my man cave. Oh man, I don't know. I don't think I would either. Not that I have a man cave with my cojones and stuff. But anyways, yes, that is wild. That is wild. I don't think I'd want that taxidermed in my house. I do like strange stuff. Okay. But definitely not that. Not that. It looks scary. And I don't know. Thanks for the movie recommendation, Robbie. I need to get like a list of good cryptid movies from you sometime, and do some Netflix watching one weekend or something.
The Oma. Yep, there you go, Amy. That's it.
Is that another movie?
No, that's what they called it in Primal Rage. Was the Oma? I couldn't remember.
Oma. Okay, very cool. That is very cool. Angel knows. Oh, it's an Angel. Hold on, I hit the wrong one. There we go. It's Amy. Amy knows.
Yep.
They called it Oma. This chat moves so fast. Like I'll click a comment and then the one beside it will come up because it's so fast. Yep. Yes, and I don't pay attention that well, y'all. Sometimes I'm all over the place.
Yeah, and like Tubi is the one. If you want to go watch, you get on Tubi and just search Bigfoot movie, and you're going to get like 500. Now there's going to be a lot of slop, a lot of them that are not so good, but you'll find some good ones. That Tubi's where I first saw exists, It's a pretty good one. Uh, Big Legends on there. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I think they were talking about Genosqua in that one.
Yeah.
Primal Rage is on it. Some other good ones. I just have to look and go because I've seen so many of them. Sometimes they kind of start running together.
Well, I am behind. I never watch movies anymore. I just don't. I haven't had time. I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube occasionally. Okay. But yeah, I need to catch up. I'm behind on all the cryptid shows and cryptid movies.
Yeah, Amy, Lost Coast Tapes is also a pretty good one. It's another kind of found footage type. Those can be hit or miss sometimes, but exists. Lost Coast Tapes, those are some pretty good ones as far as the found footage rather.
There we go. Okay. And William said he just sent me a picture, so let me check that out real quick. And let's see. Where did you send it, William? Where did you send it? Oh, here it is. I got it. Oh gosh, William, is it okay if I show this one? That is creepy. All right, y'all want to see this one? Let's see. This looks like a hyena type were-dog. What this is, William? What is that? Hold on, I'm gonna let the audience see that. It looks very. Hold on. Let me get it up here. That looks like a hyena type were-dog, like were hyena. That would be like a real were hyena, actually. I think.
Yeah.
Good grief,
That'd be something.
That's wild.
That'd be something you won't want to meet in a dark alley or even a lit alley. From that matter.
I can't imagine watching somebody, you're just hanging out and somebody transforms into that thing. No, thank you. Yeah, thank you, William. That's like a were hyena. Then we've been talking about were hyenas quite a bit. Were hyenas, were cats, and all that. I guess you just it's kind of the same as being an S walker. Yes, kind of. Maybe it's a little different. But thank you for that. I've not seen a representation of that looking like that, William. That's wild. Look at those ears and those fangs. That very much looks like the mouth of that Gugway representation too, Robbie. With the fangs in it like that. Yeah. Man, I tell you what. I just don't even think about stuff like this when I'm out in the woods. I can't. Or I might not go in the woods anymore. It's wild. Oh, well. Okay. Well, Robbie, thank you so much for being here tonight and for hanging out with me. What do you think? What is you got any final thoughts on all this stuff? What do you think about the Beaman Monster?
I mean, I think it's probably a misidentification. I don't think it's actually a 12-foot gorilla. I think we're talking probably something along the lines of maybe a Dogman or a Gugway, something like that. But as far as your data, I think that to me makes me lean more towards Gugway. Other than you hitting on the term werewolf, everything other than that makes me think Gugway. But that's who knows what it. I mean, that's just speculation. Which is what we're all doing.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think it's definitely legit.
Yeah, I do too. Okay. Let's see. I was gonna pull up your podcast and stuff too before we go tonight, so everybody can go over there and subscribe, of course. Okay. So, Robbie, you are a pretty accomplished author. Okay, I know you were just on here a week ago. Has your new book come out yet? Past week.
I have finished. I finished chapter 20. Started on chapter 21. I'm about 57,000 words into it. So hopefully in the next week or so. Me and DA were talking about that last night. He's getting close to finishing his current one he's working on. I'm getting close to finishing this one. And he's got a couple more that he's already started. I can't work like DA does. I have to focus on one. I tried to do two at a time, and I got like halfway through both of them, and then I just focused on the other one, and then it took me forever to get the other one finished. So I feel it's just best for me just to work on one at a time. Because especially, with all the other stuff I got going on, it's just easier to focus on one book at a time. But yeah, number 12 should be coming out in the next week or so, hopefully.
Congratulations. That's so cool. That's so cool. It's author Robbie Jed Range on Amazon, y'all. I'm going to pull up your Amazon page for people who want to check out your books and stuff. And of course, we got to talk about your podcast too. Here, let me see. Here we go. These are your books, and of course, D.A. Roberts was also in the chat tonight, y'all, and D.A. and Doc as well. You guys all kind of go in and have some of the same characters and stuff in some of your books.
Yeah, and the way we like the Dark Frontiers book, that's all three of us write books in that overarching series. D.A. takes the main timeline, so to speak. Doc's taking everything from Civil War all the way up to World War One, and his are the Dark Frontiers, the Vampire Chronicles. DA just does Dark Frontiers, and then whatever escapade they're in on those books. Doc's are the Vampire Chronicles, which talks more about the vampires that the Nightmare Hunters take after or go after, and mine are the War Journals, which DA has already alluded to all the different battles and things that the Nightmare Hunters were part of, being, a couple hundred years old each. So that was my wheelhouse, was, everything from World War One all the way to the Cold War. So, but it's like when you read one of DA's, you're basically getting the story from Declan's lens, which, Declan's the leader of the group, obviously, but it's all the same characters, but it's all through Declan's lens. When you read Doc's, all the same characters, everything's the same, but you're getting those same characters as viewed through Doc's lens, Doc's character. Same thing with mine, same characters, but you're getting them through Jed's lens. So the things that, you still have Declan being mostly the same, but it's how Jed views him versus how he's viewed coming straight from Declan. If that makes sense.
It does. That's so cool. I love how y'all do that.
Wild Hunt Project Manicore. That's when DA first came up with the Wild Hunt. There's the Midwest Division, which is where all the Team Odin books come from. That's Clark and all those guys. But there's also the East or the West Coast Division. There's the Alaskan Division, and there's the East Coast Division. So he gave me the East Coast Division, and that's the unit that I write about from the Wild Hunt. That's actually been one of my most popular books. I've sold probably more copies of that than any other book that I've got. But Valley of Bones is actually kind of catching up to that.
Oh yeah. Look at that cover, man. That looks badass. That looks really cool.
I like that cover.
Yeah, those are cool.
We talked about it the other night. I think between the three of us, we've got over 50 books that intertwine within that same universe.
Man, that is so neat. That's so cool. Action packed too. Action packed and all interconnecting. And yeah. Y'all go check them out. We've got you know what? I think it was kind of last minute. I don't remember if I put your link in the description box, but it's in the chat tonight. And I'm going to definitely put it after the show. It's going to go right into the description link on the show for you guys to go purchase Robbie's books. Okay. And there's a nice variety here. And we got another one coming in the next week, right, Robbie?
Hopefully so. It should be. I'm like I said, I'm on chapter 21, so probably another 3 to 4 chapters, and it should be done. And then as far as next, I've got some. I'm kind of wanting to go back to Valgard, but that one didn't sell too good, so I enjoyed writing that one. Yeah, people have been talking about that one. I still need to. I still need to do the third Grail book. I've got another Shadow Walker, or the fourth book of the Shadow Walkers that I'm working on, and that's where Tina comes into Rick's daughter, because his son Kirk is the main, or one of the main characters in Project Manicore. So Tina, people's like, when's Tina going to get into the family business? So she's going to take over when Rick left the Shadow Walkers, or the Sheepdogs, as the group was named, and went to the Grail series. Tina's going to actually step in and take that spot, or take Rick's spot there. So I've got another one of those in mind. I've got a follow up for Valley of Bones that I'm kind of kicking around. So yeah, we've got some projects. It's just getting to them.
Oh my gosh! Well, you're busy. You stay so busy. You have a normal job too. You got like a regular job.
Yeah.
So yeah. So kudos, man. Yeah. And I know you're staying busy. William just sent me a picture of a Gugway tribe. Do you want to see this real quick before we go?
Sure.
We're going to talk. We'll also promote your podcast as well. Hold on 1 second. Let me share this screen real quick. Thanks, William. I'm going to show this real quickly. It actually kind of looks like a Bigfoot track, kind of. Let me look at this. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. That's cool. That's cool. That's pretty big too. Considering, look at that pin right there.
Yeah.
That's cool. What did William say?
That looks a lot like the track at the Monster Mart, or what used to be the Monster Mart. It's not there anymore, I don't think, or it got sold. So
where is that? Is that in Arkansas?
It's in Texarkana. Yeah, it's
okay.
But that's Denny Roberts owned. That's where a lot of the if you watch the not the actual movie, but if you watch the Small Town Monsters documentary on Legend of Boggy Creek, a lot of the interviews and things like that were done there. That's where I got to meet what'd you say the guy's name was that actually played the
Keith Crabtree.
I got to meet him there.
I love him.
Yeah,
shout out to Keith.
He was a great guy. He was super nice. The guy that was kind of there's our liaison, so to speak. He introduced us to Mr. Roberts, and he's the one that called Keith in. Keith came in and it wasn't like it was just like 5 or 6 of us and he took his own time to come up there and hang out with us, and I kind of got to geek out and nerd out because I hadn't seen The Legend of Boggy Creek when I had my encounter. I didn't see it till afterwards. So if I'd seen it beforehand, it probably wouldn't have been as impactful to me. But seeing it after I had my first encounter, that made it that much more impactful. And it was a bucket list thing to go. And William Lunsford was one that was the guy that set all that stuff up for us. He took us out on the Sulphur River bottoms that night. So just to go out there and kind of be walking around that same area that all that stuff happened, it was amazing. That was probably one of the best excursions that I've ever went on.
God, I want to go. Steamboat's been there. Steamboat said, I've been squatching on the Crabtree land. I'm jealous.
I don't know how far we were from that, but according to William, we were right in the area where most of the movie took place, or the events from the movie took place. He actually drove us by the what's the plot, the house isn't there anymore, but the one where the guy's sitting on the toilet and it reaches in the window and tries to grab him off the toilet. He took us by. We drove by where that house used to be. It was a really, really cool experience.
Can't remember who was on my show. They were talking about how, I think it was Flat Rock. Flat Rock said that the Bigfoot's watching when he's on his toilet and stuff.
Yeah,
they love peeking in the windows.
That to me was one of the scariest things in the movie when he's in that thing reaches through the window. That was a true brown pants moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's at your most vulnerable, right?
Oh yeah,
So that I mean, it's probably just a sign of dominance they're trying to do or something. You know,
yeah.
I guess that's
Well,
what that is.
it definitely messed that kid up because I mean they ended up having to take him to the hospital. He was like catatonic for like like
Man.
15, 20 hours or so after that, I think.
Oh my gosh. It scared the out of him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Say crap. Scared the crap out of him. It's not funny, y'all. I'm not laughing at him. Okay. But yeah, that's wild. That's so wild. Well, yeah, Steamboat says, Robbie, I love this area. I'm only 20 miles from Falk. Falk.
Yeah.
You say Falk? Is that how you
Falk.
pronounce it? I always pronounce
Falk.
it wrong.
That's how I've always heard it pronounced. That's how I always pronounce it.
Yeah.
But the movie's great. But if you want to watch something that's really good and gives you a lot of good behind the scenes, talks to people that were around the Small Town Monsters episode that they did on that is excellent. I mean,
I'll go check that out.
it really. I want to say Eli produced that one.
Yeah.
I think, but Stacy and all of them were involved in it. That's a great group of people. They put on some really good documentaries.
Yeah, I need to check some of those out. Like I said, I hadn't had time to watch nothing. Okay, but I do hear their name quite often with the Small Town Monsters
Yeah.
and stuff. So that's cool. I think they're on YouTube. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Colleen.
Eli's actually, if anybody listens to the first couple of books DA's got on before Cam started narrating, well, Lakeview Man actually is the only one, but Eli's the one that from Small Town Monsters. He's the one that narrates the Lakeview Man of DA's that's on Audible.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. Okay, well, Colleen, first of all, thank you, William Nighthawk, for sharing that picture with us. I appreciate that. And thank you for sharing the other picture of that were hyena with us as well. I've never seen that. That's a really good one. And Colleen said it almost looks like 3 toes in that print too. Yeah, I need to examine that print. That was really cool. So yeah. What's up, Poncho? I see you in here. Thank you for being here too. Okay. Well, Robbie, before we go, tell the audience about your podcast with you and DA and Doc and all the other fellas that show up there from time to time with y'all.
So it's a lot of times it's just me and DA because Steve and Doc both work a lot. So a lot of times it's just me and DA. But every Wednesday night at 8:00 Eastern or 8:00 Central, and or 7:00 Central and 8:00. Yeah, 8:00 Eastern. We talk pretty much about a lot of the same stuff that Jessica talks about. Like last night's show was about that one about the cowman, and we've kind of started or changing our format a little bit. And last night was our third open case file episode where we just take an open case and we just kind of break it down bit by bit, get the audience involved. It just kind of show them how an investigation goes from start to finish, and the things you got to look at, and then and we're not trying to say, oh, this is real. We might come to the conclusion that we think it's real, but we never ask anybody to buy into what we're it's our opinion. And I think we're somewhere over 500 shows now.
Yeah, y'all got a bunch. 518.
Yeah.
That's great. Man,
So
awesome. Heck yeah, y'all go over there and subscribe to Nightmare Hunter Podcast. And yeah, that's great. I like your case files. That's really neat. Yeah. So you guys are every Wednesday and then Saturdays.
Every Wednesday. No, we're not. We're not doing Saturday. It got. We were at one point we were doing 3 shows a week. We were doing the Monday Night Mayhem where DA and I are writing a book, help letting the audience get involved with that. Then we had the Wednesday night show and then had Saturday night show, and it just number one, DA got where he was just falling behind on his riding, and it was a lot on all of us. So we just dropped it back to the. Now we may end up bringing Monday Night Mayhem back at some point. I don't know that we'll go back to a Saturday night show and a Wednesday night show where they're both pretty much exactly the same. I think we'll probably, if we go back, we'll probably reopen Monday Night Mayhem. But the thing is, Monday Night Mayhem wasn't picked up by Unex. It was just the other show, so that's kind of one of the things that's kind of still up in the air, because we had to keep, or DA had to keep our old studio for that. So, and it was fun, but we weren't getting a whole lot of views on it. So, and
yeah,
it may come back, may not. I don't know. We'll look at it and revisit it once DA catches back up and gets caught back up where he needs to be, because it was just, and he's fine, but his health is not great, so it was to the point where it was cutting in his work, and it was hard on him to sit there for 3 shows a week. I'm healthy. It was hard for me to sit there for 3 shows a week, so.
It's a lot, man. I love it, but it can be a lot, especially if you got other stuff going on and stuff. So
Yeah.
I totally get that. Yeah, people, I don't know, a lot of people may not realize how much work goes into these shows.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. It's what we make it look easy, don't we, Robbie? Just kidding.
You do. I don't know about me. Most of the time, I feel like I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
We make it look easy. Look, nobody's perfect, but we get the shows done, and I have a blast, man. I have so much fun. It's so great to meet so many new people and get to talk to people about the research and hang out with my old friends like you, all of our old friends and stuff. And yeah, it's fantastic. So, and I totally miss this. Brian Bowden, I like to say Bowden because we got a Bowden where I live. Brian Bowden, thank you so much for being here, Brian, Sir Brian. And thank you for that super sticker for the local Cryptid Fund. You were fantastic on Spaced Out Radio. I caught that today. I think that was last night or night before last. I can't remember. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you being here. And so yes, I'm sorry I missed that earlier, Brian. I was busy talking. I was jabbering. But thank you for that. And so Robbie, man, come back and see me again. Okay. Come back and see me and come hang out. I've always got a weird topic for us to go over. So
I think we're going to hang out in person in a month or so.
We are. You're coming to the event.
Yep. And I heard you kind of tease it at the first when you had me backstage. So yeah, I'll be there. I'm going to come hang out with Jessica, and
yes,
might have some books to sell.
Ooh, you know what? We need to tell Sheila to get you a table. They're looking for vendors, and their vendors are free, y'all. And I don't believe they're charging anybody to have a table there. So if you have a service or any kind of, things you'd like to sell, y'all come out, sign up for that. Y'all come see us. It's a free event. There's going to be a lot of people there. Okay. There's a way you could probably make some money out there. If y'all got some services and stuff, or any kind of, even cryptid related stuff or whatever you got, books, get you a table out there and come see us. And if you don't have anything to do a vendor table with, just come see us. And especially if you got like stories to tell or any kind of, if you just want to come share a story or just come meet us, come hang out, y'all come see us. Okay. And that's the lineup right there. And it's pretty fantastic. And Robbie will be there. I wasn't going to say, I was kind of joking around. I was like, maybe I can convince Robbie to come. I already knew you were coming.
I know.
Maybe I can convince some. Yes, you're going to be there.
Yeah, she's already twisted my arm. She did that last week.
His arm. Yes, I'm making him be there, y'all. Has no choice.
Nope. Yeah, she didn't say, "Hey, you want to?" She goes, "No, you just go ahead, plan it out. You're going.
Get over here. Get. Okay." And yeah, that's what happens when you become friends with me, y'all. I crack the whip. Okay, and you're gonna show up to stuff or else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding. Oh man, well, I'm excited to get to hang out with you. Next, what was that, in like 2 months, a month and a half, something like that?
Yeah, we're almost at the end of August, so we got.
That's right.
A little over a month, because that's the first weekend in October, right?
It is. It's
Yeah,
the
so
first
we
or
got
second. I think it's the first. Yeah.
first because the second weekend in the month, I'll be at the Westminster Bigfoot Festival
Oh
in
man,
Westminster,
Jessica.
South Carolina.
Oh my gosh. Yes, JJ Ultra Mind Control. That's it. You've got me pegged. OU812KA. Oh my gosh. Everyone gets under my Coochie mind tricks when they get around me. Okay. And yes. Okay. So, oh yeah, you got the South Carolina festival coming up too. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys, there's tons of Bigfoot festivals and events coming up. And any of those that I'm a part of, I do post them on my website and stuff. But there's a ton of them that I'm not a part of. And y'all can find them. Just look them up. Go to Facebook. Go to Bigfoot Believers and Other Creatures over there on Facebook. Everything's posted over there. And I see my buddies Larry and Bruce are in the chat tonight. They're moderators over there. And yeah. So this has been awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank you to Angel and thank you to Brian Bowden as well for the super stickers tonight. Y'all are so sweet. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you to all my moderators for being here. Thank you for putting the links in here tonight and stuff for Robbie. And thank you to DA again for being here. Robbie, huge thank you to you for showing up for me tonight and just being here to hang out. I always appreciate you.
Anytime. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I took you up on that. You said anytime last time. I was like, come on, hang out with me again. So, but I will see you at the event, if not before then, on October the 3rd in Alabama, y'all, at Cornwallis 1828. Y'all come see us. And also come back and see me Saturday night. I'll be here 10 p.m. on the hunt live. Okay, so it'll be another fantastic show. They're always good shows, y'all. Everybody, please stay safe out there. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We all learned a little something about the Beaman Monster and circus train wrecks tonight and so much more. So if you're just tuning in, go back and check it out. And I will see you guys back here on Saturday night. Everybody, please be safe out there. Keep your head on a swivel and live in no fear. All right, Robbie. I'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
See ya.